And I was like, oh, I have social anxiety. I don't think I should do that because I had a little bit of trauma with groups. Yeah. With groups and everything. I was like, me and people, nah, we don't do that. And I literally felt him like embrace me like that. That was an intense school. A lot happened. My mental health was in the trenches. I was in a really dark place, and then I came to school. My first friends were my bullies. If my friends end up watching this, I am so sorry. I love this question.
Do you have a favorite Christian movie?
Yes, I do. It is The Passion of Christ, and one of the reasons because I've watched it way more times than I think that everybody has ever. I started watching it in grade 1 till grade 7 every single year, every Easter, because my school was a Christian school and it enabled us to watch it every single time. But it was really, that was an intense school. A lot happened. I learned a lot. I mean, spiritual-wise, I grew as a person, but it's just like, as a child, there was just a lot to take in, because watching all of that and my teacher's telling me, you can't cry because if you cry, you're going to put Jesus back on the cross. I'm like, oh, okay. So as a grade 1 who was really sensitive, I just had told him my tears. I just had to sit there and just watch Jesus get lashed out and everything. I'm just like, but like, I watched it recently again, and since again I'm spiritually like okay and better, I loved it. I just love the storyline behind it, and it makes me such a beautiful story. Yeah. Go watch it.
Okay, with that said, like, what is the story of Elizebeth? Where are you from? Take us on a journey. How did you meet Christ?
Oh, Elizebeth. My sweet Elizebeth. Elizabeth. I'm from Uganda. Uganda is 80% filled with I can't really say 80%, but like 70%. Most of the Ugandans are Christians, and we do have like Catholics. We have Anglicans. We have a lot of different kinds of Christians in there, but like most of the people, like the general thing is the fact that most of them do believe Jesus exists and they believe in God, and of course there are other religions, but like most of us are Christians. And so I grew up knowing Jesus. I grew up in a Christian household. I grew up knowing people, having a relationship with him. It's just that I didn't really get to learn how to love him as a young child. It felt like it was a feeling that was forced onto me, and I wasn't really allowed to have that space to actually learn to love him. And that also my life just in general just made it quite hard to learn how to love him, because I didn't love myself, because people around me who raised me didn't really allow me to love me. Because again, I was a very quiet child, very in the dark. I know, huge contrast of who I am right now, but like I was really quiet. I didn't really speak too much. I didn't want to be in the light. I didn't want to be seen. I always wanted to stay in the dark. I didn't want to be in public, and didn't really say much. And I didn't really receive affection or love from the people around me. So I didn't know what that was. But I always had this feeling in my heart that I didn't want to show the version of what people are showing me to other people. I just wanted to give them love, but I didn't know what love was. So I went to boarding school since grade 1. So I didn't really receive love from home. And then I came to school. My first friends were my bullies, and I didn't receive love from that either. So my idea of friendship was bully. But then I know what they were doing was wrong. I just didn't really. I was just like, okay, maybe this is how life is. Maybe people are supposed to treat you like this. That was a whole ideology, and that got me to resent myself, because people resented me or they didn't like who I was. And I just kept on growing, and I knew Jesus, and I kept on practicing all the things that I prayed. I read my Bible. I memorized a lot of like books, and when people ask me like what book is this, I would let them know. But it's just that I didn't really fully believe in the word because I wasn't allowed to. Well, I wasn't allowed. I wasn't given the space to believe the word. It just felt like it was something I had to do without reasoning behind it. And yeah, it just that was my way of thinking for a very long time until um around grade grade 7. I realized I had to put in an effort to actually like get to know Jesus. And that's when I actually started like trying to get to him. But I still had something blocking my heart from getting closer to him. I just didn't know what it was. And I just kept on pushing for it, but it just didn't really get to me. Like I wanted to know him more just from my mother's faith, because I know my mom like prayed for me and everything. Just from watching my mom pray, watching her practice, all this beautiful Christianity stuff, and watching all the other Christians around me pray. I just wanted to feel like his presence within me, but I just couldn't get to him because there was something that was blocking me from that. And grade 7, I tried to put in an effort. That was me like trying to do everything. Now I was trying to do everything with meaning, but I still was doing. I was still doing it without reasoning. Like I was just doing it just because I have to, not because I wanted to get a connection from him. And yeah, that's the way I thought until like I moved here into South Africa in 2019, and life kind of got worse for me because I moved away from my friends, and since I had a really huge contrast in making friends, it kind of like made me feel really down because I moved with my family. I wasn't really close to my family, like I wasn't that close with them, and it just made me feel like I was back in grade 1 where I had no friends and I just had to reconnect with people again. And I kind of forgot how that was because, yeah. And yeah, I just, it just kept on happening. And then 20, COVID happened, and which made it worse because I had made friends, but then since COVID happened, I had to stay indoors with my family. Again, I wasn't really closer to them again. And that made my whole trying to get to know God journey harder because the people around me weren't making me feel positive about my life. And I guess that resentment grew more and more towards myself and towards the things around me. And then something dramatic happened where my mom like said something really hurtful to me that it just got me questioning the whole like presence of God. I literally just sat down like, I've watched you love God for a very long time and you just said this to me right now. So I was like, does he really exist? And if he does he really love me? And then I just thought I wasn't worth his presence. So I decided to step away. I was like, you know what, let me go fix myself, I'll come back. I was like, maybe that's why I'm not getting to him. Then maybe that's why I don't know him the way she does. And those were the worst 2 years of my life. Because, damn, like, oh my days, it was so bad. I was depressed. My mental health was in the trenches. I was in a really dark place, and it was so bad because I used to self-harm, and I was suicidal. I had, I think, 2 or 3 or 4 attempts, and I really did try to I thought like I didn't deserve. I thought I didn't have a purpose. I thought like I didn't deserve to be here. And then I tried to come back to God because I felt hopeless. I felt helpless. Like it was so bad. And I kept on praying to him, but it was more of a reaching out to him where I wasn't believing that he was going to help me. I just wanted someone to talk to. And I just kept on telling him, like, God, I'm not okay. Like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. I don't know what's going on. And since you created me, maybe you might know. That was my whole plan. And I just wanted also that hurt to go out of my heart because I was really hurting. And then this one time, it was during the night. It was almost my finals for my grade 12. And I hadn't really studied because of my mental health. It was pretty bad. And I went out to my balcony. This is why I love my balcony. I went out to my balcony and I was wailing. It was like I made it my daily session every night that I would go to my balcony and just try and talk to God, because every single time I talked to him, I felt calm. I just hadn't, it just felt like the feeling wasn't going away, but like that was my way of trying to make myself feel better. And this one night, I go there. I know my point was to go attempt again, but I sat there before I did it. I was like, God, I literally wailed and I was crying. I was like, God, I'm being vulnerable right now. I don't know what to do. And I just pulled my heart out to it. And I sat there by my balcony and closed my eyes and I was just crying. And that was the first time in a very long time I felt his embrace. And I felt peace. For a moment, all the hurt that I had been feeling like vanished for like 15 minutes. I just sat there and it made me feel clean, made me feel new, made me feel, I literally felt him like embrace me. Like that's how it felt. It felt like something I had never felt before. It felt like something I was yearning for and I actually ended up getting it. And it made me feel so happy that I was genuinely smiling with intention, with reason, because someone actually finally gave me the love that I've been looking for. And literally after that, I didn't know that I had a future. I just said, you know what? It's God's decision. I stopped attempting. I said, I'm just gonna do what you want me to do. And that was the first time I actually I walked by faith. I didn't know what's coming after. I didn't know I was gonna do university. I didn't even know I was gonna matriculate. I didn't know if I was gonna pass. I just said, God, by your will, I will make it. And it was so funny because I actually passed my matric. And I ended up here because just everything just kept on going. And I love telling the story because I came from the pits. Like, with my mental health, it was something that I thought, like, it wouldn't, like, I didn't think I was gonna make it. I didn't think I would be here. I didn't think I would make it past grade 12. I genuinely thought I was a goner. And the fact that I was able to feel love that I've been looking for, and love that I didn't have to receive that love from a human being to know what love was. I didn't have to receive that love from the people. And the fact that I didn't even resent the people that made me feel badly about myself. I didn't resent the people that made me feel how I felt. I learned to forgive them. I learned to love them. And I kept on questioning myself why I loved them. And I realized it was because God filled me with love, that he was teaching the people around me how to love. And the fact that is my biggest, should I call it flex? Like the fact that I didn't really learn to love from people, just God placed love in my heart from the very beginning. I just didn't know how to use it. And it's just, I love my testimony. And now I've been growing as a person. 2023, moved to Cape Town. I started looking for a church, but then I was still lukewarm because I hadn't really gotten to know God more. I was still, on the surface. And then I learned to love God by myself, but I hadn't got into the community part of it. And then that's when God was like, yeah, you need to get a community. That was last year. And I was like, oh, I have social anxiety. I don't think I should do that because I had a little bit of trauma with groups. Yeah. With groups and everything. I was like, me and people, nah, we don't do that. And yeah, later on, felt like I met Leah in 2020, but then she kept on pushing me. Then Jen kept on pushing me. I was like, you know what? 2 people have come to me. The Holy Spirit. Oh, Jennifer. She's a very strong Christian that I've met, and one person that I looked up to, and I said, I want to get to where she was. But then it got to a point where I started comparing my faith to hers, but then God reminded me it's my relationship between me and him, not between other people. And then I kind of refocused my focus to God. And now I'm in a better place that every single time something happens, I'm just like, it's between me and him. I always remind myself it's between me and him. And yeah, I'm better. I'm going better, stronger in faith. I love him and I do not forget to read my Bible. And when I do, at least I pray every single day. I always make it a mission to always read his word every single day. Yeah, that's Elizabeth.
How did you get over your social anxiety?
My social anxiety?
Yeah.
Oh.
Because you're not anxious now at all.
She's still here, trust me. Trust me, she's still here. But my social anxiety has gotten better. Before, it was really hard. I used to fidget quite a lot. I would have been shaking right now, I would have been stuttering, I would have been out of this room, actually. I would have gotten my stuff and left. But at first, I learned to... I stopped being by myself because I always made it my mission to always be by myself. I hated going out. And since I moved to a whole new city, I had to actually make friends. I had to fit in. Not just fit in, but I had to like reconnect with people. So I had to make friends, i.e. I had to pull myself out of my comfort zone and actually make friends. And then I used to walk around just holding people's hands. Like I would not, if I was walking out in public, you would not see me walking by myself. I would be with someone. Like, and I will be by you. Like I would hold your entire arm. That is how bad it was. I would like, it was so bad. But I guess just the feeling of going out with people and the feeling of getting used to the space, it got me better. But then I was still scared of speaking to people, and that was my biggest thing. And then that was my biggest thing that even people themselves couldn't help me with. And I started praying about that, and I realized just while I was going through it, I was just being vulnerable with God. I'm just telling, like, I can't do it. I can't do it. Because even my industry, again, I started, the whole reason why I came to acting was because I wanted to act. And in performing arts, when I joined in 2023, my whole like view of this, like I was like, I have to be in front of people. I don't want to be in front of people, but I love acting. What do I do? So since it wasn't something that even people could help me with, I had to go to God and just ask for help because I couldn't do it by myself. I could not do it. I could not do it. And I just kept on praying about it, and I guess he kept on exposing me to different types of situations that I didn't even realize were helping me with my social anxiety. And now I can speak to people. I can speak to like other people without fidgeting too much. Like I do still play around with my fingers, but not as much as I used to. I still get anxious, and sometimes, but like it's not as bad as it used to be. But also there's a little bit of a limit when it comes to going out in public. Like if I go in public and I've talked to like 2 strangers, that's my limit for the day. If you ask me to talk to another person, I am not speaking to any person ever again. If I need to get like, if I don't know where the bathroom is and that's the 3rd person I speak to that day, I will hold it in until I get home. I'm not talking to another stranger. But I guess I'm growing, and at least every single time I look back, I'm like, 2023-year-old me, like, she wouldn't talk to a stranger in public. Right now, I can talk to 2 or 3. I can compliment a stranger in the street and still not feel any feeling after that. But yeah, God helped me get over my social anxiety, and he still is helping me get over my social anxiety. Yeah.
Okay. Back to when you talked about starting comparing yourself to others. I can remember that before you told me how you learned not to do that anymore because everybody has their own issues. Can you just reshare exactly?
Oh yeah. I grew up getting compared a lot. I grew up getting compared to my sister. My sister was like should I call her the star of the house? Let me just say that.
The white sheep.
Yeah. She was like the perfect child, you know? Good grades, great at sports, thin, tall, everything. Public speaking. And I was just short, quiet, very in the shadows. And it was just like everything contrasting. I was like, you know? And I didn't mind that. I loved my sister. I looked up to her. It's just that I think the whole getting compared kind of got to both of us, that it kind of turned us against each other. And I grew up having the mentality since I got compared at a very young age. I started comparing myself to each and every person I came into contact with. Like the minute someone stepped in front of me, I always wanted to look at something like, what do they have that I don't have, or what do I have that they don't have? Every single time, like that was my first thought, and I didn't like that. And it made me. I think that's the reason why I grew the resentment toward myself, because most of the people like had something that I didn't, and because I was a slow learner, made it worse. Because again, I'm not book smart. I'm not even gonna lie to y'all. My grades were bad, but like I had other interests that my parents really didn't really agree with. I.e., I love dancing. You all know I'm a dancer, but like I'm a dancer. I love dancing, and my parents didn't really agree with that. That was something that they didn't really see me doing in the future. And I loved singing, even though I am not good at it, or I didn't really get lessons for those. But like, I loved singing, and just they didn't really see that. So my creative mind was stronger than my like book mind, and with her it was more of book mind. And since again, Uganda is more like they love smart people, so like book smart people. So yeah, we always got compared, and it made me compare myself to each and every person that I came in contact with, and I just didn't grow as a person. Like I grew, of course, I just didn't grow the way I was supposed to, and I kind of stopped in the tracks, because then, like, God says that He created you in His own image, and we're all literally different people. Like there's a reason why I come from Uganda, and he comes from like South Africa, and then you come from Congo, and like there's a difference why God puts us in all these different like places, because we all have different decisions, we all have different experiences, we all have different lifestyles, and the fact that someone else doesn't have the thing that I have, or I don't have what they have, shouldn't be something that should limit me, because at the end of the day, there's a plan to what God has put in my life. There's a plan to what He has for me. And I guess I had to implement that in my head. I had to remind myself that He created me for a purpose, and He had a purpose for me, and He had a journey for me, and He had a reason for me to being in this space and in the place I was in at the time where I was. And as much as I wanted to be in that space, it just wasn't my time for me to be in that space. So I had to remind myself that someone else, same goes back to like slow learning. Some people are slow learners, i.e. me, and others are fast learners. Just because they got the equation in 2 seconds doesn't mean I'm not gonna get it in like the next 2 minutes. Just because I'm gonna get it slower doesn't mean there's a problem with me. Mm-hmm. Just because my brain works slow doesn't mean there's a problem. Mm-hmm. So me knowing that I will get like how do I say this? I don't want to say it's not about the journey but the destination, but kind of in this context, that's what I would like to say. Because at the end of the day, as much as I feel like my brain is trying to go everywhere here, but like there's this tale about is it the hare and the turtle? So like,
oh my god, that is such a cute story.
Like,
oh my god,
that is a story that I love, like pinpointing in my life, because it just reminds me of how life is. Like people will look at you and be like, "Oh, she's a slow learner. She's not gonna get it." They will underestimate you, and that is one thing I kind of told myself. I know how bad this is gonna sound, but like I love when people underestimate me, because it pushes me to actually do so well that I end up getting what they thought I wouldn't get. I'm like, well, I got it.
The prove you wrong certification.
Yes. So like it's like it helped me get myself out of the comfort zone that I'm not gonna get it. Like sometimes I would be doubting myself. I'm like, I really am not gonna get it. Someone goes, yeah, you're not. I'm like, are you sure about that? Then I end up doing it. I'm like, I did it. I did it. You doubted me, but I did it. So it's like I stopped comparing myself because just because they read like someone like if you hear someone like, oh yeah, I read my Bible every single day, and it's not really like it's like a thing. I do this every single time. Like I pray every single day. I pray 3 times and everything, and then you only pray once. Don't beat yourself up about that. Like, don't go home and go, oh my goodness, I'm not spending enough time with God. It's your journey. Right now, where you are, you might feel like your time and your space is not like, I don't want to say enough, but like, as you are where you are, your journey is like, I don't want to say it's slow, but you will grow to a point where you will start spending time with God more. Don't make it in a way of, okay, I have to do it. I have to I'm not saying don't say you have to do it, but don't make it your mission to end up being like someone else because you're not that person. Like right now, spiritually, I'm going to say this confidently, spiritually, I'm stronger than I was 2 weeks ago. I'm stronger than I was at the beginning of this year. I used to read like maybe one verse, and I would take weeks without reading the Bible. But now I read 2 chapters every single day, and in the days when I'm actually busy and I end up like sometimes I don't really read the Bible, but then I end up praying about it, and then the next day I make it my mission to read an extra verse because I missed, And that's something I didn't see myself. Trust me, by the end of this year, like, I think at the beginning of this year, I was like, nah, I think I'm going to do that next year. This year, I don't think it's happening. It's literally May, guys. And I'm reading the, 2 verses every single day. And I didn't see myself doing that. And I stopped comparing myself because the minute you learn that it's your own journey, like, God repositions your brain to, focusing on your relationship with Him, and you grow more. I stopped comparing. I still look up to Jen because she is a strong Christian. I still look up to several people like Cobus, and I still look up to Etty. I still look up to so many other people because I love how beautiful they embody Christ. I'm like, you can when you see Christ in someone, it makes you wanna be like them, not be them, but be like them. So that's the way I altered my brain. They inspire me. I just don't end up wanting to do what they're doing. So it's more of an altering your brain from trying to shift, trying to be like them and just trying to get to where they are. Because you will get there, just not the same way they did. And not the same pace they did. Yeah.
Wow. You also talked about how you still have some health issues.
Oh yeah.
Talk about that.
I love this question. If my parents end up watching this, I am so sorry. I'm gonna say that. But not gonna lie, I think my health went down the minute I moved out of my parents' house because I stopped caring for myself. My mental health made me struggle health-wise too because I developed an eating disorder because I have body dysmorphia, and I ended up starving myself because I thought I wasn't the size I was supposed to be. And when I was in my parents' house, okay, they have this thing where they generally do not believe in mental health or whatever. But that kind of helped me still end up eating. Because my mom has this rule where when she makes food, there's no missing meals. You have to eat, whether you like it or not. You're sick, she will get you out of that bed. You will eat. Sick, you're dying on she will make you eat. So it was a mission. Even though if you were saying, oh, I can't eat solid, she was gonna blend that food and you're gonna drink it. You it was no, there was no excuses. This is war. This is something in our household. There was no missing meals. You had to take every single thing that you were given. So that kind of helped me stay on track with my health, stay on track with my food. Even though as much as my body's, my eating disorder kind of made it a disadvantage because then I reduced the amount of food I used to eat. My mom used to tell me, "Why are you eating that little?" Because then the amount of food I kept eating, I used to get like a tiny bowl and I would eat like that. That was my meal. And my mom was like really worried. She's like, "You need to eat enough." I'm like, "No, it's okay. It's okay, I'm full." And I'll stay upstairs and I'm starving myself, all because I generally just didn't like the way I looked like. But I came to Cape Town. Again, my brain kind of got a little bit, my mental health got better, but I didn't realize that my eating disorder was still kind of a habit. Because I used to, like, sometimes I do tend to stress eat, but I want to stop that. But entirely, my brain altered to don't eat instead of eat less, which made the whole situation worse. Because I end up going a day forgetting about to eat. And I'm like, oh yeah, I had to eat, which made my body weaker inside. Like I'm not, I like to say I'm healthy because because I am healthy because of how my all the nutrients and all the fruits and the veggies that my parents fed me as a child and as to this day. And they made my body stronger. I rarely get sick. And when I do, it's pretty bad. That's because I never get sick. But my body started shutting down because I wasn't feeding it as much. I wasn't giving it the right food to function. And I started getting I think it was in 2023. I got it was in 2023. Or was it last year? I think it was last year. I got a kidney infection and that shocked my mom and me because I was like, oh, me sick? What was going on? And I realized it was due to something simple that was just sitting on the toilet for too long, not drinking enough water, but also at the same time, the fact that my body couldn't fight it off because I wasn't giving it enough food to fight it off. So my body got weak, i.e., I got sick, and it was not good. But yeah, I ended up getting medication, and I try since my brain also altered to always keeping my food at a certain low level. I tend to still forget to eat. But I try to remind myself every single time I make it a habit because last year I still used to have 1 meal a day. But now these days I try to remind myself every single now I make it 3 meals a day. If I'm at school and I haven't had breakfast, because I never have breakfast, I don't know why, because I normally when I have breakfast I always feel like throwing up, except during the weekends. But on weekdays I end up having either something small to eat, right around 10-ish. That would be my breakfast, and then I end up having lunch. And when I get home, I'm making my mission to cook. Or I end up forcing. So I end up I adapted my brain to forcing food into my system so that I can keep myself healthy. As much as I wouldn't want to eat, as much as I don't feel like eating, I end up eating because that's what my body needs. So I still do have body dysmorphia. It's not just as bad as it used to be, because before it was so bad that it affected my eating habits. It affected how I viewed myself more. I'm getting comfortable with my body now. I'm getting comfortable with who I am. I'm getting comfortable with um how I'm built, with how God made me. And yeah, I guess that's making me healthier because now I don't care how how much I take in. I just care health wise. Um if my body needs it or not. As much as as long as my body needs the food, I will keep on giving it the food. Yeah.
So you say that you came to after to learn acting, right? So this is when you got your high certificate.
Yeah.
But what moved you from wanting to be in front of the camera to behind the camera?
That's a very interesting question. I love that. I had a passion for acting like a lot. Like I love acting. One of my biggest thing is making facial expressions and also my movement. I love dancing, but also like movement in like expressing. Like when I'm expressing something, I learned because I know verbally I couldn't like say things. As I say, like when I was still a kid, like I don't know if I mentioned it or if I already mentioned or if I forgot. But I was still when I was still a kid, I used to stutter quite a lot. So I learned how to like communicate more using my body language. So I had to show action to explain what I was saying, i.e., the hand movements I'm doing right now. Like, but like, yeah, I learned how to act, and I thought like it was really fun. I just loved trying to take myself out of who I was, not because I wanted to escape, but like because it was fun trying to be. I don't want to say someone else because that sounds bad. That sounds bad. But like, it was fun trying to embody something, and I would just like want to watch it in a third person perspective. I'm like, oh, that's not me. I just loved seeing that part of me, and yeah, I did 8 high certificate of performing arts, and that was fun. But then after that, I applied for actually what is it called? It's not performing arts. What is it?
Live
Like
performance.
yes, I applied for live performance, and I ended up because I did MP first. I did motion picture first, and I liked the CDS, the costume design, the PD, because that's something I also like love doing. I love dressing up. I love doing makeup. So the fact that I do it on someone else and I get to create an entire different life in front of a set, like got me like having ideas. And then I did Station 3, which was I took an interest in cinematography and I loved cameras. And I was like, maybe this isn't so bad. But I was like, so that got my brain kicking because I'm like, now I want to do Station 1 and Station 4. I want to see how that's like. Because in the two stations that I had done first, I took an interest in something. And I was like, what do I do? So I went to my high certificate lecture and I asked for advice because I was like, I really love acting, but I don't know, but I want to do directing because then I want to see how that is. And I was like, what do I do? And then he ended up telling me like, this was the first time actually someone like ever believed in me, and I actually sat down and I took their advice because normally when someone does that, I always go, "Nah, you're lying to me," and I just move on. But like, he told me I was a good actress and I should focus on the abilities that I haven't equipped myself with. And I thought about it. I was like, since he believes in me, I'm gonna trust him and say I am good at acting. So I ended up just trying to shadow acting, job shadow acting, and if any other people like needed extra actresses, I would like volunteer. But I ended up taking an interest in motion picture because it was such like a fun like I loved the fact that I don't want to say in control, but I love the process of pre-production to production and post-production. Like you're creating something out of nothing. Like it goes from nothing to something. I just love the whole process. It was such a beautiful process because you watch people. It's like watching someone like have a mess to like being tidy. Like the whole process of the cleaning up. That's the way it felt like, and I loved that. I love the fact that people come in and pitch in their ideas, and you just see people like go from having little to like something that actually makes sense to a storyline to like that has a meaning because they don't just create it just to like create a movie. There's a meaning behind that. There's a meaning, like there's research. There's more to that, and that made me like that took so much. I was like, that is beautiful. So I wanted the fact, and I love creating things. And as much as acting is a form of art that is really beautiful, I just wanted to be in both worlds. Cause why not? So I'm still an actress. But like, I'm still an actress. But like, I'm also like behind the camera because I just love that place. I love creating new things. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. How did you convince your parents to allow you to study at film school?
Oh, that's a funny question, actually. That's a very funny question because, yeah, as I say, Uganda is filled with like book smart people. Like, it's either the only jobs that are considered actual real jobs are doctors and what are engineers and teachers and people who are like not in our industry. If you're doing music, they always go, that's a side job.
Is
Get
that
a
a
real
job?
Exactly. Like that's
Just
more
a
of
hobby.
yes. That's more of a hobby. That's more of a you're trying to they don't really think about it like as an actual job. So I feel like my parents are strict, like quite strict. So I feel like when we moved to South Africa, it kind of altered their brain to like the lifestyle here. That kind of made things a little bit better. Like not as much, just a little bit, Because my parents like opened their minds to like variety of things. And then I guess the one thing that my mom, well, the first person that actually ever altered their brain to it was my mom because my schoolwork, yeah, I said it was in the shambles. It was bad. I feel like if I decided to do a degree with my books, I was not gonna make it. The only thing that was looking good was geography. But like, who was gonna accept me with just one good mark? So imagine just looking at my report like, forget about everything else, just look at geography. That would have been funny. But like, my mom kind of altered her brain to that because then I was like, I really have a passion in acting, and I think I still believe it's because they finally like I had life in my eyes when I spoke about acting and I spoke about this industry because I just always had a passion for it. I couldn't use it because I wasn't given the space to use it. And then when it came to like choosing jobs, I ended up like actually, like that was the lively they've ever seen me. So I feel like my parents chose that opportunity to actually like let me be because never gonna lie, it was either that or nothing. Because if they decided to put me in a book smart um, degree, it was not gonna happen. It was not gonna. Maybe the most I would have been is with a what is it called? With a reporter or something because I really love geography. But like other than that, it was not gonna happen. But yeah. My mom altered her brain. She accepted it. And then it took a while for my dad to accept it because he tried to alter my brain to like, maybe you can be a designer, end up creating your own brand. I'm like, sir, designer, acting, two different things. I still love dressing up though. I love creating new things, but I'm on the other side of the industry, not that one. So he tried to like always try to change my brain until like he accepted it. And I think the only time when he actually realized that I was doing something that makes a difference was when I graduated in 8C. And for the first time, he told me he was proud of me. I said, oh, it took me actually, it was last year. Wow. Yeah, it was last year because I graduated 8C last year at the beginning of the year. It took me 19 years just to hear my dad say, I'm proud of you. And that that made me happy, but also something like it got me sitting. I was like, damn, 19 years? 19 years? It took you 19 years to say it for me? But also sometimes I didn't let that like make me feel a certain way. Like I was happy the fact that for the first time in a very long time, or ever, if I didn't really notice, that I actually had value or I created value in my parents' life. Like they actually saw something in me. And they saw my career as an actual career. They saw me like it was an actual achievement that now they value. Before they didn't really value when I started, like it was so bad that when they asked me when my relatives were asking, oh, what is Elizabeth doing? My mom would go, do you wanna answer that question? Do you wanna let them know? But like when they asked about my siblings, they always had something to say about them because they're like, oh yeah, my brother is doing, Isaac is doing pilots, yeah. Oh, Barbara is doing engineering. But when it came to me, it's like, do you wanna, because I don't know what it is, But now, right now, as we are, like, after the achievements that I've had, and again, proving them wrong, after the achievements I had, they value what I do, and I'm happy that I was able to open their eyes to that. So, yeah.
Is there anything else that you would like to share that you think that could really touch, encourage, or inspire someone?
Ooh, I would say a lot, but one of the things I would love to point out that I really struggled with until God opened my eyes to is I know life gets pretty tough. I know it gets to a point where you don't know what to do and you don't know who to rely on and you don't know where to go. But keep on leaning on to Him because He does guide you. One thing that I used to know is like, I'm a clumsy person, so almost everything goes wrong around me. And I used to hate the fact that I used to do everything wrong because people thought you being clumsy, you making a mess is always doing something wrong. And I used to hate that. But then I embraced that part of me because God made me clumsy. I love the fact that I'm clumsy because I get to learn how to handle things differently than how normal people do. And I embrace that part of me. So embrace the imperfections about yourself because they make you who you are, and you get to learn to work with them, to work around them. You get to learn to, I guess, embody who you are, who God made you to be, in a way that He wants you to be. And also embrace the struggles. Like, I know it's hard. I know life gets pretty hard. And I know sometimes it gets so hard that you can't think of a solution or you can't think of where to go forward. But one thing I've learned, I like to think about it as if I'm holding God's hand and I'm just walking through this storm and my eyes are closed and I'm just allowing Him to guide me. That's the way. So that's a way of saying walk with the faith. Like through the faith, as much as you can't see it happening, as much as you can't see the end goal of it, just keep walking with Him because He will get you through it. Because one thing I've realized, we tend to focus more of the end goal, but we tend to forget about the journey, or we tend to forget about the storm itself. That we always want to get out of the storm, and I know it's an understandable feeling, but you get to learn a lot when you're in the storm. You get to learn the journey. You get to embrace and handle more storms later to come when you're in that storm. So when you walk with God in that storm, you learn to handle the feelings while you're in like the storm. And yeah. And then also love yourself, love the people around you, and learn to love in a biblical way, not the worldly way. Like they're two different things. That is one thing also God taught me this year. Because if you're loving and you still have that question of why am I loving and I'm not really, getting satisfaction, you're loving in a worldly way. And if you don't know how to love in a biblical way, trust me, He will reveal it to you. You can go in the Bible and there's so many books that talk about love and loving God and loving people around you the way God wants you. Yeah. I guess that's it. Because I feel like the minute you start loving in a biblical way, a lot of things will be revealed to you. The minute you start handling or learning how to handle the storm with God, using your faith, a lot of things get revealed to you. And I also learned how to stay calm and trusting him instead of always rushing to getting a decision because you want to get to the end goal. Let him lead you. Yeah.
Hey, that's rap.